Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome inside to Chihuly Garden and Glass. Great to see so many people out here, and thank you for being with us this afternoon on a fantastic day for the Seattle Sounders organization, and what could be a better setting as well. If you haven't already craned your necks up to take that photo, you'll have plenty of time a little bit later on. So welcome, my name is Ross Fletcher. I'm the voice of the Seattle Sounders Football Club, here to make some unprecedented things going on with the Sounders right now, and today we're going to build on what has already been a fantastic nearly 6 years as an organization in Major League Soccer. So our panel is about to join us right now, and as they come up, feel free to make them very welcome. We have, in no particular order, Seattle Sounders owner and general manager Adrian Hanauer. Joining us also this afternoon is the Sounders head coach, leading Seattle already to a US Open Cup trophy and potentially more this year, Sigi Schmidt. Next up, a longtime Seattle Sounder. I make it 12 years with the organization. He's still going strong as well as that rugged, teak-tough central defender. Please welcome Zach Scott. A relatively new member of the organization who you'll be hearing a lot more from as this afternoon goes on, Andrew Apokowitz. And then also joining us, fan representatives from both the Emerald City Supporters, the Alliance Council, and more. Please welcome Paul Cox, Kyle Boyd, Angelica Mendoza, and Sean Wheeler. So again, thank you very much for being with us, and as I say, we're about to hear some unprecedented things moving forwards in the Sounders organization, and with that, let me turn you over to Adrian Hanauer.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Does that work? There we go. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. I'm going to be optimistic and assume it's the panel and the announcement and not this amazing venue that's got everybody out here this afternoon. This is really a phenomenal building and a great place to make some exciting announcements. This is another historic day for our club, for Seattle Sounders FC. I am very, very excited today to announce that the Seattle Sounders will enter United Soccer League's Pro Division next year, 2015, with an independent, standalone franchise. We're very, very excited for this development in our evolution. The team will officially be called Seattle Sounders FC2. You'll hear a bit more about that later today. And the team will play at Starfire Sports Complex in Tukwila, Washington, our current home, and for the training for the first team. We're very excited about that. So we have a bit of a long program. I'm going to try to be brief. Many of you know that's not my specialty, but I'll do my best. Before I go on a little bit, I want to just recognize a few people. Ross may have mentioned it, but Dale Chihuly, Billy O'Neill, the Chihuly folks who are hosting us here today, we're really appreciative of them. You know, a partner that doesn't often get mentioned, but we're very excited about our partnership with Washington Youth Soccer and all they do for development and inclusivity in youth soccer and the development in our state. Starfire Sports Complex, the home of the Sounders MLS team, training facility, fantastic, in the city of Tukwila. I want to recognize the city of Tukwila and its mayor. Mayor Hagerton is here, I believe. Thank you for being here, Mayor. And most importantly, no offense, Mayor Hagerton, the staff of Seattle Sounders, because this has been a monumental task. Launching a franchise is a big undertaking, and everyone's pulled double shifts and double duty to try and get ourselves organized for today and certainly beyond today. Just a few brief comments. This is a fantastic time to be involved in soccer in North America, in Seattle for sure, in the Puget Sound, but in North America generally. Coming out of the World Cup and the successes of the U.S. national team, and the unprecedented passion and attention that the sport garnered here in the United States. Just a great success. Major League Soccer generally, and the expansion, teams coming in next year in New York City, a second team there, and in Orlando, Atlanta following in 2017. The general just improvement in the quality of the product, the game on the field. You know, we believe it's improving year after year after year. You know, we don't see anything stopping that in the near term as we aggressively try to challenge some of the top leagues in the world and continue to develop our domestic game and the game internationally. The fan culture, development of fan supporters groups, the passion, the energy, the commitment they bring to the buildings, the atmosphere that they create for the rest of our fans, and for the players. Just a tremendous growth and evolution in our league, and you know, not last, but certain, well, not. Incidentally, but a massive piece of the puzzle is development of young players. And that's a big part of why we're here today. The development of academy systems over the past 5, 6, 7 years in Major League Soccer, along with youth clubs all over the state and the country, huge part of the continuing development of soccer, of our club, certainly nationally, internationally, of course, as well. And you know, how does this USL team fit into this? Well, you know, until now, we did have a bit of a gap in our development. We, you know, if you go around the world, a lot of people will say that our 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old players are as good as anywhere in the world. But at the age of 18, 19, sometimes there starts to be a bit of a gap between our players and players in other parts of the world. And, you know, quite frankly, that's because at 17, 18, players in other parts of the world are entering into professional franchises, professional environments. They're playing soccer 365 days a year, sometimes training twice a day, certainly completely focused on the mental piece of the game, the tactical, the technical part, nutrition, and what it takes to be a pro. Don't get me wrong. We have a system today that is also a way for players to develop, and a lot of them go through the university system. And there are a lot of great examples of players that have come out and succeeded hugely through the college system. The guy sitting next to me is one of them. Zach went to Gonzaga, got his degree, math degree, started working for me doing some accounting work in one of my other businesses as he worked his way up from through the USL system, and has become a huge part of Major League Soccer and the Sounders' success. So there are different ways for players to develop. But we feel like this is one of those ways that was missing in our arsenal. As a quick aside, I just got back from a trip to the Middle East and Europe, and the Sounders are alive and well in the Middle East and Europe, at least for this trip. they look to us as leaders. It's really interesting how things have shifted in my years of being involved in soccer. You know, and it used to be that people were just looking at us as leaders on the business side, but they look at us as leaders on the football, on the soccer side now as well, with innovative ideas and a working relationship among owners in this league to make sure that the game grows for everyone in this country. And that isn't always what you see in the rest of the world. It's more of a dog-eat-dog, everyone for themselves sort of environment. So, you know, they're looking at us and seeing some really good things happening in the development of soccer. So we're here to celebrate another step in this evolution. You're going to hear some exciting things later in this discussion. Our friends to the south, the Portland Timbers, have decided to enter USL Pro as well. They made that announcement today, so that gives us an opportunity for huge rivalries in Cascadia in the Northwest. My hunch is that you'll be hearing future announcements like that from MLS teams, which just continues to help us build the game, build the development. And finally, this project is the culmination of really several years worth of work. I sit on something in MLS called the Competition Committee. We started talking about development in a big way several years ago as it relates to a potential USL MLS partnership. It took a while to get there, but next year in Major League Soccer, it'll be mandated that each team needs to run their own independent MLS franchise or partner with a USL. Sorry, each team needs to run a USL Pro franchise or partner with a USL Pro franchise, and that really does bode well for the continued development. We knew that we needed to bring some firepower in to help build and launch this franchise, and so I'm very happy to turn the comments over to Andrew Opakowicz, who we brought in to help sort of create the vision for this USL Pro team and execute on that vision. And Andrew is acting as our general manager for this franchise. So Andrew, take it away.
Thanks, Adrian. Thank you very much, Adrian, and thank you to all of you for being here today. It's a great honor for me personally to be involved in this organization, which sets the bar really high for Major League Soccer and soccer in North America. And I think that what we have to announce to you today is another good example of that. It's been a couple of months of really hard work. A lot of people in the office wearing multiple hats, and a lot of people outside of the office doing a lot of work to realize today as our launching point. And I want to just take a brief moment to thank three people from the office in particular who really have stepped up and done some tremendous amount of work. The first is Maya Mendoza, who's with us today and recently welcomed her new daughter, Atia, to the Sounders family. Heidi Detmer, who is our director of marketing, and her entire team has been very important in putting this event together and really putting the vision of not only what we're going to do on the field, but what this team means to the overall organization off the field. So thank you very much, Heidi, and your entire team for the help that you've given us over the last month. And then lastly, Lauren Wojcicki, who has put this entire event together today. And I think that we've never had an event at Chihuly Garden and Glass, which seems like a shame. So when we came to Lauren and the Chihuly folks and said, we want to have this here, she really stepped up, and everything you see today is her working with the Chihuly folks to make that a possibility. And I think that everyone can agree this is a pretty spectacular setting for what we think is a spectacular announcement. So thank you very much, Lauren. So as Adrian very eloquently put, how important this announcement is to our overall organization and the future of our club, and how that is impacted by where we are as with the growth of this sport in this country. Clearly, what we set out to do with this second team is to create a competitive environment of meaningful matches throughout the season that will be really, really important to developing our young athletes, as well as giving first team guys who aren't getting enough minutes at the first team level currently the opportunity to stay sharp, stay fit, recover from injury. So for both reasons, we think that this is going to be a very, very important part of our player development system, and ultimately serving the first team, meaning a way to produce world-class first team players from the Puget Sound area. So I'd like to ask Ziggy to talk more specifically about how the second team will function in the overall club, and what that really means from a player development perspective as well. Coach?
Great. Andrew, thank you. Thanks for all of you for being here, because I think this is a fantastic day for the club. I mean, there's a lot of things going around it, not just the player development portion that'll be addressed as well, that I think are very unique and are very special. But it's also an important piece in terms of our player development. Sometimes it's a big jump from college to the pros. Sometimes it's an even bigger jump from the academy to the pros. And being able to have our own USL team and our own second team here, it bridges that gap, and it gives us those opportunities. You know, I see Lamar Nagel lurking in the background, and many, many years ago, when Lamar came to us as a college player and tried out for our team, and we didn't feel he was quite strong enough at the time, we had to send him all the way across country to Charleston. Okay, well, we don't have to do that anymore. We don't have to send him across to Charleston. We have a means to continue his growth and continue his development here. It also provides that bridge for our academy kids, and for some, college is a wonderful opportunity and is an opportunity that we want them to take advantage of. For others, it's maybe not the best way, and it's maybe not the best road for them. Now there's an alternative step for them that they can use, and that can continue their soccer development and continue their growth in the sport that we all love. And also for our first team, obviously it gives opportunities for the growth of our staff members, because we need to staff the team and coach the team and so forth, so there's growth in those areas. But also for the players then, as they're coming off injuries, or if they're not getting enough playing time with our team at the moment, for them to get sufficient playing time to stay sharp, to stay involved, to be ready for the next opportunity when they get the chance to step on the even bigger stage of stepping onto the field at CenturyLink. So it's a win-win in all areas, and it's an important piece. And to be able to have the team locally, instead of having to work with the team that's 1,000 miles away or is 2,000 miles away, just makes it so much better from a coordination and from a development aspect. And the players, even on a daily basis, we can bring players into our training. If we're short on players in training, we can bring up 2, 3, 4 guys and bring them into our training. If we see somebody's doing really well in the Sounders 2 team, we can bring them up into our training sessions. We can bring them up and we can put them into our 18 for a game. So there's great opportunities that present themselves for the growth and development of the players, and the continued growth and development of our entire organization and our club. So it was a missing link, and it was an important part that we got covered, and I feel excited, and you see what's going on here. Anything that the Sounders do, they're going to do the right way, and they're going to do with first class. And that's a tribute, obviously, to Adrian and the owners, and to the work that Andrew has put in so far. So that's really all I have to say, and I'll turn it back over to Andrew.
Thanks, Coach. Zach, you know USL all too well from your start as a professional. Can you comment a little bit about the league in general, and maybe from a player perspective, the value that you think it'll have to young guys, the next Okolis, Kovars, Yedlins, who are coming up through the academy system?
Yeah, I mean, Adrian kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, I was more typical as your guy kind of transitioning to pro soccer coming from college, but less typical in the sense that I did need the 7 years that I had with that USL team to get anywhere close to being able to play MLS. I mean, I'm not, as a 21-year-old breaking into the USL squad, I wasn't anywhere near the level of the 21-year-olds that we have on our squad right now. So I knew that from my perspective that the 7 years that I played with USL were just tremendous. And then as recent as 4 years ago when we kind of restarted the reserve league for MLS, I remember the years before that just being incredibly frustrated as a kind of bit player here or there and not getting any time other than training, not seeing the field at all for games. So once that reserve league started up, it was just tremendous to know that you could get that 90 minutes here or there. And now to see this where we have week in, week out, you're going to get games with the USL team. I mean, I'm positive as long as I play my career in Seattle that there's going to be ups and downs, and everybody has ups and downs where you're either going to see first team action or you need to keep that 90-minute fit and play with the second team. So just a tremendous opportunity for these young guys. As an older player, you really realize how much you can give back to these guys and help players develop as pros. And I think this is going to be that next step to help bridge the gap with the first team and allow first team players to continue to grow a lot of these young guys and to see them out on the pitch on CenturyLink.
Thanks, Zach. So clearly, player development is a really important part of the future of our organization. So without further ado, we wanted to create a brand associated with the second team, which was both an extension of the Sounders, Seattle Sounders FC, and took what was unique about that brand, truly unique, and built off of that to also represent the future. Player development is one of the key pillars of that future. So Ryan, could you play that video for me? So let me introduce you to S2, courtesy of Wexley School for Girls and Michaela Wagner. And those are two examples of people who have worked tirelessly to make this possible as well. So we want to thank them for their work. What S2 really represents is, as I said before, the future of this organization. The crest was built off of the two truly unique characteristics of the Seattle Sounders FC crest, the shape and the color Sounders green. Neither one of those things exists anywhere else in the world of football, with the exception of with your club, the Seattle Sounders. So we've kept that consistent to draw a strong connection to the first team. As many of you know, that club crest is built from three parts. The green shield with the space needle, which represents the players, the blue base shield, which represents the fans, and the banner, which is the club that binds them. So moving into the future, obviously the player focus will be on development, as we've touched on. And we now want to move into the community focus, which is going to be the future of our fan piece, community involvement. And without going into too much detail, I want to turn over to Adrian and our special guest to tell you what that's really all about.
Thanks, Andrew. Well, as many of you know, as probably all of you know, we like to include our fans in just about everything we do. Joe Roth, myself, the ownership, truly believe that we are just stewards of this franchise for our fans, for this community. Whenever, whatever, however we can involve fans, make them stakeholders, make them feel as much like it's their club as it is our club, we're happy about that. We've had our Alliance Council for the past 6 years with the MLS team, the MLS club that has helped us do that, meeting regularly with that group to discuss the way we run our business and allowing that group to vote on certain issues within our organization. We feel as though we've taken this new team, Sounders 2, S2, to a new level. We wouldn't have done that without the fans and some of the people on this stage pushing us always to try and explore and think outside the box and push the limits of what fan involvement means. So with that, I'm gonna hand the stage over to Paul Cox, Kyle Boyd, who lives in Portland, incidentally, and Angelica Mendoza, who will discuss in a little more detail what we're up to.
Hey everybody, it's good to see so many people that we're usually standing in the stands together and cheering on the team. Thanks for all of you guys coming out. Fan involvement has always been a really big deal for us, obviously, in Seattle. We've been doing it for several years with the Alliance Council. Democracy in sports has turned out to be more than a marketing slogan. It's a real deal where we get to meet with the owners on behalf of the fans and talk about the things that are important to us or provide them input. There's times when they've come to us with questions because they're not really sure what they should do or where they should go with something. And we've tried to make a point of representing all the fans for that. Democracy in sports has actually been a principle for the Sounders even before we moved to MLS and even before Adrian got involved with the team. Because I'm not sure how many people realize this, but back in 1974, the original name Sounders was voted on by the fans. So it's really a legacy that we are stewards of, like Adrian mentioned, stretching back 40 years plus at this point. The things that fan involvement bring to a club are very powerful, and they help strengthen the bond and deepen the bond between the fans and supporters and the club. And so Kyle came up and he wants to talk to us a little bit today about what he's experienced in some things living around the world and how deep fan involvement is in some of the biggest clubs in the world. Kyle?
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, I do live in Portland, but I did grow up in Seattle. I was born and raised here, grew up with the Sounders, and I come up for all the home games every weekend. But I've also traveled extensively, and I traveled extensively through Central and South America, trying to learn Spanish terribly. But I ended up in Argentina, and I lived there, for about a total of 3 years. And what I saw there sort of opened up my eyes to what fan involvement really means. The clubs down there, they sort of grow out of these community centers, athletic clubs. So, it's your neighborhood community center you go to. Maybe you're taking a judo class, maybe you're part of a basketball team. They actually have that down there. But maybe you're also a part of the soccer team. And a lot of the soccer teams, they kind of progress up the ladder through their leagues, and they get into the first level, and then they become really big. But that club is still something that the people in the neighborhood go to practically every day. It's part of their daily lives. And so because of that, they're really attached to that club. I mean, literally, it's something that they live for. And seeing the passion that they have for their clubs, it reminded me of what we have in Seattle, but they have it to a greater extent because they're something that they're a part of. It's not just a product on the field that they're consuming or watching. It's something that's theirs. In thinking about that, maybe you think about, the Forbes came out with a list a while back of the top clubs, most financially successful clubs in the world. And I thought it was telling that 4 out of those 5 clubs are actually fan-owned or governed. So think about that for a minute. Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, who we were sort of modeled after, Bayern Munich, and even Arsenal, who has a supporters trust that has a minority stake. Bayern Munich, if you follow them, they actually play in a league where it's a league rule that the clubs have to have what they call a 50% plus one majority stake in the club. That league is actually the best attended league in the world. So this is a model that actually works around the world. It's something that the fans join in on and they're a part of. And I want that here so badly. I think that Seattle's pretty special because from its beginning, we were sort of building a legacy for that kind of fan involvement. And I think that, it's our responsibility as fans or sort of, Seattleites, part of the Sounders community, to keep building on that legacy. So that's why I'm here.
Thanks, Kyle. These principles that he's talking about extend into our local community. And Angelica Mendoza has been a really great friend and confidant for me during this process, and she would like to talk a little bit about what that fan involvement can mean for us here on the local level.
Thank you, Paul. So I'm secretary on Alliance Council and I'm a board member for Levada Fuerza Verde, which is a subgroup of Emerald City supporters. And I'd just like to touch briefly on a couple of ideas, fan investment and community impact. So when you think about the most successful brands, what makes them really successful is loyalty and satisfaction. So what that's going to mean for S2 is that they have to create a positive experience for their fans that extends beyond the matches. So fans need to feel inspired to share their experiences with others outside of the stadium. That also means actively connecting with the fans. So fans need to feel like the club really cares about them. So Andrew kind of emphasized the pillars of S2 of development and community, and that game plan includes extending access to players, increasing opportunities for fans to have an influence in the club, and leveraging the intimacy of Starfire. So S2 has the potential to become a fabric of the local community by building on this concept of inclusivity and empowering supporters through participation in soccer. So when you think about participation, it's actually just sharing. There's many ways to do that. You can actually play soccer. You can be a spectator. You can be a season ticket holder. And the group that's really growing over time are these fans that really want to have an investment in the future of the club. So many fans dream of actually being part of the club. Rather than just a simple spectator, they want the team to win and to prosper and exceed financially, and they need assurance that owners care about winning just as much as profiting. So invested fans care about access to soccer and service to the community, and that impact is greatest with innovation and collaboration between the club and its supporters. S2 has its eyes set on that future and has the potential to build a future that's really built around fan loyalty and fan engagement. So I would like to pass the torch back to my friend Paul to talk a little bit more about exactly what that means.
Thanks, you guys. So like I said, we've had the Alliance Council here for a number of years, which is a way of giving all the fans and supporters who hold season tickets a say in the operations and management of our club. And now we've decided to create something new for even deeper involvement. We're calling it the Seattle, I'm sorry, not the Seattle, it's the Sounders Community Trust. That's all I've been thinking about for the last couple of months. You'd think I'd remember the name. The vision behind the trust is to find a way to strengthen and deepen this involvement for us, the fans and supporters within the club. So we have a little preview of the trust's identity, and we have a little video to play that has our logo. Andrew talked earlier about how the original Sounders crest is made up of multiple layers, and at the base of it is the blue shield, which is the representation of the fans, and so that's where we got the inspiration for the base shield that we use. If you look at a lot of supporters trusts around the world, they use round logos, and we got a little tired of that, so we decided to do something a little new and unique. I think Adrian has a little something that he's going to say that's going to help out this trust get off the ground as well. So Adrian?
Yeah, and maybe this will help clarify things a little bit. And really simply, what I'm announcing is that the Sounders Community Trust, I feel like I should have a certificate or something, effectively is giving, or the Sounders are effectively giving the Sounders Community Trust 20% of our new franchise, of S2. So again, this is sort of the next step, the next evolution of fan involvement, of holding our toes to the fire, of making sure that the S2 ownership is well looked after. And I think between Andrew, Paul, myself, I think we're going to be able to talk through a few of the logistics and details of how this works. But on behalf of Sounders ownership, we are very excited to present that 20% of S2 to the Sounders Community Trust.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's a good deal. Well, obviously that's a pretty big deal for us to actually own a share of the club. And the way we're going to kick that off and get that running, oh, you know what, we have a video. We've got a video of the logos together, I think.
An image of the logos together.
An image of the, okay, I don't want to overpromise, so it's not a video this time. Ryan, do we have that picture up? Is it up now? Fabulous, thank you. The way we're starting this trust off is with a Founders Club. And we worked with the club a lot. There were quite a few meetings with Maya and Andrew and myself sitting in a room and trying to figure out how we were going to make this work. And what they came up with and what we came up with is the Founders Club. And the Founders Club is the first members of the trust, and they have a really good opportunity. I'm signing up as soon as I'm out of this. To become members and owners of the club in a way, because the trust is going to have this ownership share. The Founders Club offers fans ways to get into the club. It's open to everybody. There's exclusive numbers of season tickets that are available through that Founders Club, but you'll still be able to join the trust even if you don't get in on the Founders Club. However, the deals that these guys have come up with are tremendous, and I really encourage everybody to take advantage of it. It's not just for season ticket holders, it's not just for supporters, it's for everybody. It's for all the fans and supporters of the Sounders, whether you're here in Seattle or we just had one of our buddies in ECS, Paul Johnson, was here from Australia all the way up just to watch the team because he just comes up to watch games. Or Tom Sewell came over from England. It's a chance for all of us to join together as a community and support our club by means of our share. And so Andrew has some details on what that membership includes.
Thanks, Paul. Obviously, after you walk out of here today, or maybe it's live already, on our website, soundersfc.com, as well as a new website which has been formed by the Trust, sounderscommunitytrust.org. There will be full details about what Trust membership means, information about your new team, S2, and the partnership between these two organizations, both in a management and creating an experience which is valuable for our players and fans on match day. So as Paul said, we have partnered to create a Founders Club, which will be the group of people who are the first to influence their club through the 20% ownership stake that we have given the Sounders Community Trust. I won't go into a tremendous amount of details, but there have been a series of benefits bestowed upon the Founders Club members by both the Sounders organization as well as the Trust. For example, Founders Club members will have obviously full voting rights and membership in the trust itself. In addition, the Sounders will allocate a limited number of season tickets to Founders Club members. So each Founders Club membership will be allowed to purchase up to 4 season tickets to every match that the second team plays at Starfire next year for only $95. And we're making that available to 750 season tickets. Obviously, if you're a Founders Club member, you can purchase more than one season ticket. There'll be a series of other benefits that go along with season tickets, including reserved premium seating in the Starfire Grandstand, which is something we haven't done before, but we know is really important to our fans. We'll also be giving a series of other benefits associated with access to the club. So invites to special coaches dinners and meetings with players to Founders Club members. There'll be a legacy involvement. All of the proceeds associated with the Founders Club will go towards a capital improvement project at Starfire Sports. None of this money is being used to fund the operating costs associated with S2. And that's a really important point to me and the organization as a whole to make sure that everyone is clear on. It's our responsibility to put that team on the field and operate that team. This is a unique opportunity for our fans and supporters worldwide, and specifically, obviously, in the Puget Sound area, to become more involved in the organization through ownership in the trust. But the funds associated with the Founders Club will go to a capital improvement project at Starfire Sports that will benefit the Sounders. It will benefit Starfire and every individual that goes through that fantastic facility, and therefore the overall greater Seattle soccer community in general. That's very important to us. So there'll be a legacy piece. Founders Club members will have their name on that building, that capital improvement project, for the rest of time, on either a brick or a plaque to be determined. There'll be discounts on the lifetime of that season ticket. So whether it's year 2, 3, 4, 5, Founders Club members will get discounts on those season tickets, in addition to discounts on other Sounders associated merchandise. And then lastly, there'll be a series of family benefits. A lot of our fans have families, and they want to be able to pass this ownership on to their children, as well as provide a unique atmosphere for those children to really grow up in the shadow of players like Zach Scott and DeAndre Yedlin. So there'll be a series of benefits associated with family members being able to pass on experiences to their children as well. So as I say, the full details of that Founders Club membership are on the website, and that will go live today with a limited number of season tickets associated with it. Adrian, anything you wanted to add to that?
I think so.
Okay. So we have a couple of additional really exciting announcements, and I'm going to invite my friend Sean Wheeler from ECS to join me in making this next one. We all know Emerald City supporters for what truly makes them unique in creating what I believe, and I think most of you will agree, is the most authentic and best atmosphere in Major League Soccer at CenturyLink. A tremendous organization with great leadership. Sean Wheeler with Greg Makos being the president of ECS. And upon hearing that we were making this unprecedented announcement that 20% of the second team would be given to the Sounders Community Trust, ECS immediately stepped up and said that they wanted to support that venture. There's a real clear distinction between the atmosphere that ECS creates on match days and the importance that they have to the club, as well as how the Sounders Community Trust will function to influence the club on the business side as well as on the field. So I'm very excited to announce that we've structured a partnership with the Sounders Community Trust and Emerald City supporters, and Sean will talk a little bit more about this, but ECS has made a financial investment to allow their members to become the first individual members in the Sounders Community Trust. So thank you to Greg, who's here, as well as Sean for making that possible.
Thank you, Andrew. And also, on behalf of the Emerald City supporters, thank you to Adrian and Paul and Andrew for all of your guys' hard work over the past few months of making this happen. Yourselves and many others in the club have gone above and beyond what anybody expected, I think, for this announcement today. And just thank you so much for being here and being part of this community with us. First of all, TCS is very proud to be able to stand here and say today that we're going to be part of the ownership group along with the Sounders Community Trust of this S2 team. And that's really truly an unprecedented opportunity within the supporters culture in the United States, and it's something very rare worldwide, like Kyle talked about. Having a financial investment in your club is truly a supporter's dream come true. So for us to be able to go forward and say that we own part of this team, it's very powerful to us, and it's extremely important. In addition to that, beyond our financial commitment, we've also taken steps, and we've already begun on this, I've discussed with Andrew and Paul, to raise the bar for what we do at Starfire. We want to continue what the element of support and the style of support that we have maintained at CenturyLink Field over the past few years. We want to bring that into Starfire with flags and TIFO and having capos and being an organized supporter group there for the S2 team as well. And we're just really looking forward to that opportunity to continue to work with the club on that venture. One last item. Tonight after this event, we're going to be having a celebration of the announcement at Fuel Bar in Pioneer Square. We want to invite everyone, fans, supporters, to come and attend. We're going to have some additional information provided to our ECS members about what the trust membership will look like for them and what we can provide on that. And we just want to invite everyone to that. The party's going to start at 5 o'clock, which is kickoff of the U.S. game. We'll watch Clinton DeAndre and get some more information about this exciting announcement. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. So I'm sure people are very interested in learning more about membership, and as I said, SoundersFC.com and SoundersCommunityTrust.org are the places to go to get the details on that, in addition to being able to sign up for the Founders Club immediately following this press conference. We're really excited to have ECS involved, and I think that strong partnership between ECS and the Sounders Community Trust will be really important. This is truly a group which is inclusive to everyone, and we want this organization to be the voice of a true democracy of fans and supporters worldwide in the Puget Sound area who want to have an influence on their club and want to experience ownership through the Sounders Community Trust. So obviously we're going to have some time for Q&A afterwards, and I'm sure you'll have some questions about that in particular. But since we're talking about membership and how you become a member, I want to kick it over to Angelica and Kyle to actually introduce the first member of the Sounders Community Trust and first founders member to our organization.
All right. So what we have sitting here, this is the very first membership. As you know, Zach Scott, Mr. Sounder, he's played with us through the EOSL days, and he just hit his 300th game as a Sounder, so we can't think of a better person to give that very first membership to. So.
Doesn't mean you get to choose the starting lineup.
Yeah, I call it 299 and a third. We'll hit 300 hopefully soon. But thank you guys so much. This is just amazing. I honestly, between the framed jerseys and this, I don't have enough wall space for all these amazing things. So yeah, super excited to not only be a part of the first team, but also support this second team and just continue to grow soccer in the Northwest.
Thank you to all members of the panel. We'd like to open up now for questions from the floor from our assembled media. If you'd like to throw your questions here and who it's for, we'd love to hear them. Don Ruiz.
Sure. So, you know, look, Starfire was always our #1 choice in terms of soccer development. It makes the most sense for us. It's a fantastic facility. Our first team is there day in, day out. Our coaches are there. Our staff is there. Our academy teams train there. So from a soccer standpoint, it made all the sense in the world. You know, if I'm honest, there are probably, you know, bigger, better revenue opportunities, business opportunities. I wouldn't say in communities in the Puget Sound, but in communities outside of the Puget Sound. We could have chosen Boise or Spokane or one of those cities to house a USL Pro team. And you know, there would have been benefits to that as well. But from a pure development standpoint, which ultimately we decided was going to trump anything, Starfire was there really was no other decision. And part two, yes. So, you know, a little bit yet to be decided, Don, but certainly we have dreams of, you know, some better locker room facilities for two teams that were, you know, that would be playing on the stadium, in the stadium field. I have this hunch, hopefully I'm not, you know, speaking out of turn, but I have this hunch that, you know, improved concessions, you know, bathrooms, storage, things like that could be of priority. And then finally, our sort of dream scenario with everything falling into place, as Andrew mentioned, this Sounders Supporters Trust funding could potentially go towards building out a very cool place for Supporters Trust members to enjoy the game from and sort of call their own territory and their own home. But that'll be a work in progress with our friends at Starfire and as we figure out exactly what the needs are. Well, if I understand your question correctly, I think the differentiator for us in terms of standalone versus a partnership is that if we were to partner with an existing USL team, we would have very little influence over, business activities, coaching activities, players that we want playing and developing in the team, scheduling. The list goes on. We basically would have been allowed to potentially loan some players there and then hope that they got good development. The controlling our own team, again, was really the only option for us. Again, as has been discussed, this is a great opportunity, to maybe bring a player back from injury, keep a veteran sharp, but for me, first and foremost, it's a way to develop young players and get 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, 20 to 35 games under the lights, with fans, with atmosphere, with pressure, with playoffs on the line, with win bonuses, with that environment that teaches a player how to prepare for playing in CenturyLink in front of 40,000.
Kristanos?
What are the startup costs involved with this? Is there an expansion fee with USL? How much money is out of
You know, look, I'm not going to go into details. We have a very good Major League Soccer and USL, United Soccer Leagues, have a very good partnership, which makes the entry into the league reasonable. But we anticipate investing millions and millions of dollars in this over the years. There's no two ways about it. It's going to be an expensive endeavor. But again, if we can develop another DeAndre Yedlin, if we can take some of the players, there's some here, get them the games they need to get out on the pitch and help the first team, then it's all worthwhile. And you know, I'll just add one more thing that again, maybe I'm dreaming, and you know, this is great for the supporters' trust as well. You know, there was a day when AAA baseball teams weren't worth anything. Now there's single A baseball teams that are trading for $10, $15, $20 million. So, you know, there is an opportunity over time to develop an asset that has value.
John Boyle?
Certainly, I mean, just an example maybe from this season with an injury that happened earlier, and he's standing in the back as well, Damian Lowe. So he had an injury, had surgery, he's trying to come back from that injury and surgery, gets cleared to play, but then we really don't have any games for him to play in, you know, so it's all about practicing. And finally, we got a reserve game that he was able to play in. If we have this team available to us now, his rehab, once he's cleared to be able to participate in games, now we can get him up to snuff in games. And so it's hard to say at the end of the season, throw a player of even his caliber out there and saying, all right, son, here's your first game, it's going to be in the playoffs. You know, that's not exactly where you want it to be, but now all of a sudden, if we had this team, which we will next year, and he's got 3, 4, 5 games under his belt there, then throwing him into that next game at our level is then a much easier task for him and a much easier task for us as a staff, coaching staff. And so from the development of players and you know, other examples, you know, you look at Sean Okoli and you look at Aaron Kovar this year, who are 2 talented academy players that we signed. What a great situation it would have been for them to get games on a regular basis with the Sounders too, and continue to have their growth and development. Their training was with us. They could continue to have that, and they could also get the games, and that's the best of both worlds. And so the development's going to go faster, and the opportunities are going to become greater for them.
Jeremiah Roshan?
Sorry, can I just throw one more name out there, because I see him back there. I see Michael Azira back there. Michael, how many years at Charleston? 2 years. So another example of a good young player who's come in, cut his teeth in USL, had 2 very good years. We did a deal with Charleston to bring Michael here, and he stepped in and done exceptionally well when called upon this season.
Jeremiah?
You know, Jeremiah, I think we were just trying to get through today's announcement. I haven't sort of thought through that piece yet. It was sort of one thing at a time. So I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. That's a great question, and I see Chris Henderson there, Kurt Schmid, who will be very involved in you know, how this team gets put together. So, you know, if you see them and want to grab them, but I think that it's safe to say that this team will be constructed several different ways. One is players from the first team who will get some time with S2. 2 would be players, both domestic and foreign, that we go out and sign. They're, again, just like MLS, they're foreign limitations, but we are very excited and already out looking at young players who could possibly come in. And 3, there's an opportunity for our academy players to play up on this S2 team. So it's another very, very exciting opportunity for us where, you know, a 16-year-old gets to play with men and you know, sort of not necessarily sink or swim, but a good chance to, you know, give them a real run out in a tough environment. And so those are basically the three ways that the team will be constructed.
Any more questions? Well, thank you very much. There will be one-on-one media availability very shortly, so do stay with us. Next, we'll ask for the photographers to come to the front. You can get your shots with members of the panel and with Zach as well. Following that, TV cameras can come up and get their shots as well, followed by the one-on-one interviews. So thank you very much all for being with us here today.
Thank you.